Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight. I'm Judith Kober. And today, Wendy Cicchetti is back. If you are watching only on YouTube, then you will probably not be familiar with her. I did a wonderful interview with her at the beginning of January this year. And it was about the energies that are coming in from an astrological point of view. And during that interview, I asked Wendy, if she had to pick a headline for 2022, what would that be? And she said, the year of shock and awe. And so far, I have to say, she has been very spot on. So I'm happy to welcome her back. Thanks
Oh, thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on.
Nice to be here with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and of course, all her information, her websites, and so forth, everything will be in the description box as always.
Thank
So,
you.
Wendy, yeah, the year of shock and awe.
Yeah, it's all I can say. It's not over yet.
No,
Not even
yeah, you and
close.
me both.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I think as well that it will get crazier before it gets better. But what I would like to tell the audience is the energies that are coming in, we still have a choice how we live them. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And so nothing is written in stone. Yeah, the energy is what it is, but what we do with it, that makes a lot of difference. So would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And even with the Jupiter Neptune, there are two sides to it. We got to choose which side we want to go with.
So yeah, we have a full moon in Libra. Issues with power. So
Yeah,
Wendy, can you elaborate a little bit?
right. This full moon coming up in Libra kind of sets the stage for the rest of April, but even more than that, kind of sets the stage for what's coming down the road. And we as astrologers, and I say we because there are a bunch of us, we can tell you what the energies are, but we can't tell you exactly what's going to happen and exactly when it's going to happen. That all has to do with free will and choice and all of that. But the energies are there. And typically they mean triggers and also the planting of seeds. So we'll see when things actually
Do
unfold.
you mean in terms of a new idea is born?
Yes, that.
Oh, okay.
And also like the Jupiter Neptune conjunction, that's like planting spiritual seeds that will grow over time. Yeah. But this Libra full moon, let me kind of explain it to you. So here we have the sun over here, and then we have the moon over here. And then right up there in the center of them, forming a T-square, is Pluto in Capricorn. And it's in a square here to the sun and square to the moon. And what that does is it focuses the entire moon on Pluto. And what does Pluto represent? Well, it represents power. It also represents the literally the dissolution of governments. And we're seeing that happen globally. The United States is just crumbling in front of our eyes, And so Pluto is the main focus. And what's really interesting about that is that it falls, shortly after the Pluto return for the United States. Now, Pluto return is when Pluto comes back around to the exact position it was in when you were born, or when the country was born, every 248 years approximately. And so it's never happened before because it takes Pluto 248 years to go around the zodiac. And this is a very powerful aspect. And when it's in Capricorn like this, Capricorn is government. Pluto in Capricorn is the dissolution or the breakup of power and governmental structure. So that's what's happening. And it's interesting that 2 days before the return, war broke out. And the last degree of Capricorn, the last couple, it's at 28 degrees now. It's called the anaretic degree. And it's just before the planet moves into the next sign. And that's when it just digs in and finishes its work. Okay, so that's what we're in. And we see it all playing out right in front of our eyes, you know, not just in the United States, but all over the world, governments are struggling. Okay.
Yeah. So in other words, do I understand you correctly that Pluto has a tendency to break up old structures?
Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn is government, big business, big money. But in general, Pluto is the death of the old, birth of the new. And it has to destroy the old in order to make room for the new. And at this anaretic degree of Pluto right now, it's doing the final job, so then Pluto can move into Aquarius with the stage set for the Aquarian ideas to come in. And that's the new. Aquarius represents the new. And Capricorn represents the old.
Yeah. So we have a similar idea with, the Great Reset. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people even talk about creative destruction.
Yes.
So do you think it is possible that people behind the curtain are aware of these energies and are trying to manipulate them according to their wishes?
Oh, absolutely. These people that are behind it all are not dumb. They've been planning this for a long time. They're very, very aware. And most of them fall into the narcissism, the sociopathic philosophies where they don't really care about the people. And that's what we're dealing with, what we're seeing, you know, globally. But this moon shines a bright light on these things. And that's what we want to see. Things we haven't seen before, revealing secrets, the shadow side, and also the betrayal of the people. We're going to be really seeing that, you know, right in front of us. Corruption of government, business, financial markets. And it's time to take our power back. Now, that doesn't mean going out necessarily in the streets and marching. No, it's taking our power back from the emotion that we give it all and bringing it back here. And I really am an advocate of emotional neutrality, unless it's spiritual or family, okay? But emotional neutrality is so powerful because when we get really worked up about something, we give our power to it. And then we lose our balance. So if we can sit back in faith and trust, putting our light out there, working with like-minded people who understand what's happening, then we can make a difference.
Yeah, and that is exactly what is happening right now. For instance, here in Germany, the media and the government went overboard with, you know, statements like all Russians are murderers, and something like that is okay all of a sudden just because they are Russians. And so, yeah, once again, the people are being abused, and, you know, they in some cases, again, they worked with not really actual pictures. The picture was from 2013,
Right.
and so on and so forth. So, but what they are doing and what they love to do is fiddling on your emotions, on the last string of your nerves. Well, that is the trap where a lot of people, they do not know how to avoid it, you know, not to get caught up into the emotional drama.
Yeah. It's best to just look at it all like you're dispassionately watching a movie and you're going, oh, okay. All right. So this is what they're lying about now. Oh, they're making up movies about this, you know, and you just have to laugh because it really is so obvious what's happening. And one of the interesting things about what's going on right now is that all the planets are moving forward. There are no retrogrades right now. So everything's going wham, bang, you know, right? So fast, you know, so chaotic. And that will be the way it is until the 29th. And then Pluto will station retrograde on the 29th. So,
and
right
now, since we have been talking about Pluto, what does that mean when Pluto goes stationary?
Well, when Pluto stations, that means it stops. It stations retrograde, and then it starts moving in retrograde motion within a period of time. But when it stations, that means it's virtually at a standstill. And then, you know, it'll start moving backwards for a period of time, and then it'll move again. It'll go a little bit further down the road, and then it'll station direct again or retrograde and go back. So, but when a planet like that retrogrades, it intensifies the energy. And that's why we're getting such an intensity of the truth being revealed. I don't know if you've seen what's been going on with documents that have been released from, you know, the drug companies and so forth, where so much information is coming out. And some of the information I've noticed is actually been talked about on mainstream. I mean, it's gonna get so open that it has to be talked about. They can't keep it secret anymore. And that's part of what Pluto does. Is it, you know, gets rid of all of this stuff and makes it available, makes it visible, so that it allows us to have greater clarity. If we can't see the truth of what's happening, then we don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. We don't know who to vote for. You know, we're caught up in the illusion. But as the information comes out and gets exposed, we get clarity and we go, ah, okay. And as a people, then we can say, all right, we're not going down this road anymore. Yeah, it has.
But you know what? I also see people emerging that although they do understand at least part of the deception and have connected some dots the last 2 years, but when it comes right down to it, they will tell you, I don't care. As long as I have my job, my apartment, my car, I don't care.
Yeah, I'll do what I'm told. Yeah. Yeah, and there are masses of people who are in that category, but what we're experiencing now is just an unraveling of the narrative. I heard this description of it where if you're knitting a sweater and all of a sudden your thread gets caught, you know, it starts to unravel line by line by line. And that's what we'll be experiencing here for the next few months.
And it appears nobody seems to find the scissors to stop the unraveling.
Stop it. Well, to me, what's happening here is unstoppable. And they tried to create this illusion for the world to see, and they've tried at every turn to control that narrative so that people can't see what's happening by all of the censorship and that kind of thing. But you know, people are too smart. No. So the other thing, with this new moon or full moon in Libra, is we've got Saturn in a T-square to the nodes. And we've got the sun and the moon in that T-square with Pluto, and now we've got Saturn in a T-square with the nodes. Well, the nodes have to do with destiny, and they have to also, they also deal with exposure. And so with Saturn there, what does Saturn represent? Government, the big business, the big financial, the big religion. And so a lot of stuff is going to, these are triggers for that exposure, those revelations. If I were to give a term or a name to April, it would be revelations, secrets revealed. Yeah, because that's
Okay.
really the push right now. Also, Libra has to do with lawsuits, and there are quite a few very powerful lawsuits going on right now that deal with corruption and deal with overreach of power. And it's likely that through this time that those lawsuits will be finished, finalized, and we'll be able, hopefully, that they'll go in our favor.
Mhm.
We're hoping. But yeah, Libra has a lot to do with that too. But Libra also has to do with balance. The world is out of balance. And we as individuals have to bring that balance back. We can't trust the government's going to do that for us. Part of, what we're going through with the Neptune Jupiter conjunction, which will be actually conjunct on the 12th, and just Neptune in Pisces in general, is mass insanity, mass delusion, and the savior complex, which is, if you just do what you're told, we'll save you, and people have fallen for it, which I know will be to their eventual regret.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
So, then we have Neptune Jupiter conjunction, Venus Mars enter Pisces, and 5 planets assemble in Pisces on the 25th. So what is the significance when we see an entire assembly of planets in one?
We've got a lot of Pisces energy, and like I just mentioned, there's the insanity, the illusion, delusional, that side of it. But the other side of it is inspiration and magic and a spiritual bump. And I'm seeing that with my astrological practice. They're saying, oh my gosh, I got this download. Oh my gosh, I'm getting this information. Oh my gosh, I felt like I was out of body. All of these spiritual advancements are presenting themselves. I've had a couple of clients just this last week start integrating their light body, where they're seeing everything, what I call an Eckhart Tolle moment, where all of a sudden they see the nature of everything, and they're just like shaking, and they have to ground it, and integrate that energy. So with Neptune in Pisces, we get that spiritual bump, and it's setting the stage for that. These energies are unstoppable. We cannot stop what the cosmos is doing for us in terms of advancement and evolution, and that's what's going on. These things don't come together just for nothing. They come together for a purpose for humanity. So, and then we've got Venus coming in. I think Venus gets into a conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces on the 27th, and then Jupiter on the 30th. Okay, so Neptune's coming into the mix, and then the moon enters it, and so you have 5 planets there in Pisces. That's a real statement. Jupiter in Pisces energy, and Venus and Jupiter are the great benefics. They benefit us. And so when Venus enters that mix, it's beautiful, creative, wonderful, inspiring energy on the one side, and on the other side, it enhances the illusion and delusion. So here's what you said about making a choice. are we going to continue on with the fear and the illusion? Or are we going to stick with the creative inspiration that's there for all of us? Now, when Mars enters Pisces, Mars isn't happy in Pisces at all.
Yeah.
Mars doesn't function because there's no direction. Neptune is just, all over the place. And Mars needs direction. It reminds me of the story of the football team, and they're in the locker room, and the coach is revving them up and come on team, go. And they go to leave and the door's locked. They have no place to go. And that's what Mars is like in Pisces. There's no direction. But it's really good for the spiritual warrior energy. Okay. As you're working on your spirituality and putting some aggression and attention into it, it's really good for that. But it's not typically, it doesn't function well. So it's more, the Venus is much stronger in Pisces than Mars is. And the moon is strong in Pisces. It's that water, that spiritual water. So, but this, like I say, is going to be with us for a long time. This is planting the seeds, setting the stage for our spiritual evolution. So in terms of what I would tell people to do, recommend you do, is really get into devoted practice, devoted prayers. None of this, oh, this is what I do every day. No, it's got to be deeper than that. It has to be, I call it the 4 Ds: daily, disciplined, dedicated, and devoted. The 4 Ds every day. And there's a difference between dedication. Yeah, we can be dedicated to a lot of stuff because we have to be. But when you add devotion, that really puts the emotion and the spiritual component to it, that makes it live within you, is the devotion. So really amp up your spiritual practice, people, because that's going to help you. It reminds me of some of those cartoon images where somebody's grabbed one of the stars and is moving, holding on to the star as it goes by. And that's really what we're involved in right now.
I have to say, I have deliberately dropped all my spiritual practices. And the best thing that works for me is being in nature.
Oh, that's one of the huge things right now. Huge. The practice that I have found the most helpful, and I don't know if you're aware of him, but it's Lars Muehl. He's from Denmark. Have you heard of him?
I don't think so. I do not get a face.
Okay, well, he's a visionary and he's pure as they come. And if anybody wants to check him out and what he teaches from the ancient Aramaic language, it's called Gateways and Passwords to Heaven on YouTube. And his practice is so powerful. I have never experienced the heat in my hands and body. And I've been involved in Reiki for many, many years. I know what heat feels like. This is transforming what he teaches. So anybody who wants to up their practice and to get more into it, he would be the one, Lars Muehl, on YouTube. But this is the time for that. And if you're seeking, and as a lot of people are during this time, he would be a great one to connect to. So what's next, my dear?
Okay, so we have finished that topic, yeah? Yeah, the Pluto retrograde, we already talked about that. Or would you like to add something to that?
Well, there's still issues with it as it relates to Mercury. And I think that we need to understand the role of Mercury this next month, or through the end of this month and next month, because Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It's moving really fast right now. And it's going around the zodiac and it's conjuncting and trining and squaring all of these powerful planets. And so as we look to, let's see, the 17th, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus. Well, what does that mean? That means flashes of inspiration. Wow. Flashes of sudden revelations. Okay. Problem solving. Now, when you get Taurus energy, because Uranus is in Taurus, Taurus energy is about the earth. It's about food. It's about agriculture. It's about the food supply and nature and all of that. Uranus is about the new, doing the new things, the AI type of things, which doesn't satisfy my heart. Some people might really think it's a good thing, but like the FDA has said, by 2024, they're not going to be selling meat in the stores anymore. Okay. And that they're going to go into lab grown meat.
Mm-hmm. There are already kits out there where you can grow your own steak from skin cells of yours.
Yes.
And you buy that kit, and after a couple of days you have a steak.
I have a hard time with that. I'd rather go back to nature and grow my own food and have a pig and a cow that we share with the neighbors, go back to the old way of doing things without the chemicals and the processing and that kind of thing. But Uranus and Taurus gives us, again, that duality and that choice. Which way are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And some people might like the Uranian ways. and so then we've got Mercury. I know. Well, that's coming, but Mercury is conjunct the nodes and square Saturn on the 23rd. Well, hello. The nodes, again, about destiny, information about releasing more of what's going on in the world. And it also is a reality check. It's squared Saturn. Saturn is the government and the big business. It's a reality check. Who has the true facts? What are they? That kind of stuff is going to be coming up, this duality about what's true and what isn't. And that's on the 23rd. Then on the 26th, Mercury is sextile Neptune and Jupiter. That beautiful aspect, but there's no clarity there. So we can't really tell what's fact and what isn't at that point in time, because Mercury is in the water. And then that's when on the 26th is where we have all 5 planets in Pisces. And that is the sun, the moon, Neptune, no, excuse me, not the sun and the moon, Neptune, Jupiter, the moon, Mars, and Venus, all in Pisces. And so on the 27th is when Venus goes conjuncts Neptune, and Jupiter does it on the 30th. So we get all of that wonderful energy. But on the 28th, Mercury trines Pluto. And this is a cool one because it has everything to do. This is when Pluto is stationing retrograde, and it has everything to do with releasing information. Mm-hmm. Secrets, sexual secrets, governmental secrets, all of the secrets that have to do with Pluto are going to be more and more coming out, more and more unraveling. The power and its misuse of power, the structures and how they take advantage of us and misuse their power. So that's what's going to be happening towards the end of the month. And then after that, we go into the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. And that's when we have another big push with a lot of things. It's another layer of instability, as if we didn't have enough. It's very edgy energy. We've got the 29th is also when Mercury moves into Gemini, its home sign. It's really happy in Gemini, and it's just going 100 miles an hour. Fast, aggressive communication, all, and it's trine Pluto. So it's all going to be the revelations and the secrets exposed. And then we have, with that solar eclipse, we have the moon and the sun sextile Mars. Okay. Then we have the moon and sun conjunct Uranus. Well, what's Uranus? It's, quick and sudden changes, information coming in from out of the blue, again, too, it's the new information, it's the new ideas in deference to Capricorn, which is the old. Okay. And so this eclipse has pivot points associated with it. It's a reshuffling of the energy. Okay. It brings intensity.
Mm-hmm. In general, what significance do eclipses have?
Well, like I say, they shuffle the energy. They're an they're a non-negotiable energy. Okay. The shifts are coming for your personal life or for the world. The changes in the shifts come, and they can start a month prior to it. So we're actually under the energy now for 6 months later. Now, a lot of it depends on where it happens in your particular chart. So and that's at 10 degrees Taurus, if you find that in your chart, then you'll know what house is going to be affected by the eclipse. Now, the length or the duration of the period of time for the change depends on how long the eclipse lasts. And some eclipses are much longer than others. I did not look to see how long this eclipse will last, but it's usually like a month per minute.
Oh.
So it just depends on how many minutes. And then that gives you the duration of the energy. So it's part of our destiny as individuals, as well as the collective. And then it's followed up by another one. The other interesting thing too about eclipses, they come in cycles every 18.5 years. And if you go back 18.5 years ago, there was an eclipse in Taurus. What was going on in your life at that time? It's really interesting to go back and look at that, because you went through major changes.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you a glimpse maybe of what you're still needing to work on in your life. So now let's see, that is the solar, in Taurus. Now you also, if you look and you want to find out where this coming full moon is in your chart, then look at 26 degrees Libra. And you'll find out where this coming full moon in just a few days on the 16th, and how that's affecting your personal chart. Everybody, I think, wants to know that. Where is this these powerful energies, where are they going to impact me? People want to know that. So, but that's does that satisfy your question about eclipses?
Yeah.
Okay. It's something to pay attention to and to research.
Yeah. In ancient times, people often had the impression that eclipses are messengers of something very horrible. Was that probably because if it's a solar eclipse that the light went away, or okay.
Ancient cultures didn't have the understanding that we have. Now, that's not to say there weren't astrologers and there weren't groups of people who had the ability to understand that, but the average people, that what I call the peons or the peasant class, they had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the earth would shake with an earthquake and they thought they were being punished. If the light diminishes, they thought they were being punished. They just didn't have any idea. And even astrology, back clear thousands of years ago, they what's that right word? they interpreted it in a more negative way than we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And because we see the positive and the challenging, okay? Back then, it was more they just talked about the challenges. So, yeah, that's really what happened, is just ignorance, really.
Mm. Okay. So, yeah, we just talked about the solar. Did we talk about the solar eclipse in Taurus on this?
No, that's on the May
Yeah,
15th. Yeah. Now that's a lunar eclipse, I believe. Yeah.
new moon eclipse. New moon.
Right. Yeah, it's a solar eclipse, I believe. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think this one is the solar eclipse is the first one, the lunar eclipse is the second. And that happens on the 15th. And again, it's very, very powerful. You have the sun conjunct the moon, and it is, or the sun moon is conjunct the nodes again. Well, again, destiny, again, revelations coming out. It's not going to stop. It's an unraveling. And so more revelations. And of course, the node, one of the nodes is in Scorpio. And that has to do with anxiety, dread, jealousy, especially when the moon is involved, okay, which it is. And so it ends up being, again, more revelations and more icky. Oftentimes, too, if the moon is in Scorpio, people will feel those things just in general. It's an icky lunar feeling. And I can always tell because I start feeling really yucky and I go, okay, the moon's got to be in Scorpio right now. And then we have, in this same one, we have Saturn is in a T-square to the sun and moon. Well, 2 squares again, challenging aspect. This is on May 15th. What does Saturn represent? The old, big business, big government, big religion, you know. So all of this stuff continues to unravel in front of us. And I do think that the old structures are going to work really hard to maintain their narrative and come out with other stuff. It's like the last gasp before a person dies. I think that's part of what's going to happen. Now, when you look at Mars is also conjunct Neptune there, trine the moon. And when you look at Mars, Mars is fire and Saturn is ice. Saturn is cold. So we've got this fire and ice situation happening at that time. And it's also happening at the time of the retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Mercury starts slowing down. Mercury goes retrograde in Taurus on the 10th of May, and it's retrograde through the 3rd of June. And so all communications are going to get pretty wacky at that time. But I don't know if you're aware of the concept of Mercury's storm phase. Have you heard that term? Okay.
No.
It starts before the retrograde, when Mercury slows down to less than 40 minutes of arc, okay, where it's not comfortable. So about a week prior to the retrograde, as it slows way, way down to a standstill before it moves forward, you've already got retrograde activity, okay, because it's slowing down. So we have it that way a week before the retrograde, and we also have it a week after retrograde, because once it turns direct, it takes a week to start moving fast enough, more than 40 minutes of arc, so it's happy again. All right. And so as you think about the retrograde, think about a week before and a week after. So it's longer than 3 weeks. It's actually about a 5-week interval of things going wacky.
Mm. You know what I just thought? Those people who are trying to shape this reset according to their ideas, are they aware that, you know, their energies in the cosmos working against them? Or are they that cool that they say, yeah, okay, look, guys, this is happening anyhow. The deck is somewhat stacked against us. So let's seize that opportunity, go ahead of it, and
Yeah.
sell a story.
They're aware that there's a huge contingent fighting against it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're planning and preparing in every way possible, but they cannot stop the alternative media. You know, they
Yeah.
can control the mainstream media, but they cannot control or stop unless they shut down the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then things will get more confusing. And we might find time frames where that happens, where they'll shut it down. But otherwise, they can't. There's nothing they can do. There are too many pockets of intelligent people that see right through what they're doing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and are spreading it as much as they can. So
But
when
you
we're
know
dealing,
what it is, what I found the entire time, I thought, my goodness, when I look at this, you are practically attacking your base. Yeah, the ones that are obedient and you know, the virtue signaling and so on and so forth. Yeah, but if you buy into that false reality, then you are the one who gets harmed in the way, you and your loved ones. So I always thought that's a weird thing that they are attacking their own base in that manner. But I guess to them it doesn't really matter. It's a useless eater, so what?
they have an agenda,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to push forward on that agenda. You know, the World Economic Forum, you know, and those associated with it are very busily controlling, training people, infiltrating, you know, governments, infiltrating cabinets, and you know, legislatures. They've been doing this for a long time, and that's how the reason that they're so they've got such a hold is they've been infiltrating governments for a long time for their agenda. Now, another thing that's confusing to people is the Great Awakening versus the Great Spiritual Awakening with Neptune and Jupiter. Now, the Great Awakening is caused by fear. It's not connected with the Neptune Jupiter. It's caused by fear and people's ability to wake up and see that it's all been a lie, that it's all been a manipulation. And that is waking more people up because it's not making sense. And that's different than the spiritual awakening. Okay. So there are two awakenings happening at the same time. And once people do wake up, then yes, I encourage them to grab onto that star, grab onto that spiritual awakening, so that we can lift ourselves out of the third dimensional matrix, which is where the heavy, awful energy is. Lars talks about it, and I like this. He talks about the third dimension as the world of questions. And we can't get the answers we need in the world of questions. So the whole MO right now is to move up into the fifth dimensional realm where the veil is thinner, okay, that frequency, which is the world of answers.
What if things have been corrupted up to the sixth dimension? What now?
What if it has happened?
I'm pretty sure it has. I'm pretty sure that things are corrupted up to the sixth dimension minimum.
I haven't heard that. And I've been in the fifth dimension before, and it's more of an individual realm. I don't see it as, because certainly when I was in it, I was living in the third dimension, but I was experiencing fifth dimensional love, fifth dimensional creativity, fifth dimensional inspiration.
I'm not saying that isn't, I'm not saying that is not part of that, but yeah, but okay, the entire subject of ascension and so, and that is not really my subject.
Okay.
That's
Right.
Personally, you know, if people are interested in it and want to study it, fine. Personally, I think it's a lot of hooey, but okay.
Everybody can believe what they want. It's fine, you know. Yeah. That's part of the whole thing, you know, is choosing where you land, choosing what resonates and moving forward with that. Some people want to move forward in one way and some want to move forward in another. And that's fine. That's what free will is all about. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, one could say they saw the energies that came along, seized it, put a narrative on it, and tried to capture it for themselves. Would that be correct in a nutshell?
Are you talking about the positive or the negative? The positive?
Yeah. No. I mean those real string pullers.
Oh, the string. Yeah. That, yeah, they see what's going on and they have an agenda and they see the narrative is unraveling, and it's going to be interesting just to watch what new tactics they take. And that's part of it, is as the people move in one direction, they've got to counter it in another direction. And so it's just this game that's being played.
Yeah.
You know, with people's emotions, and they know psychologically what's going on with people and what they need to do to weaponize the fear, right?
Yeah, and I think that is because so far I don't think they have been very creative. In reality, they are regurgitating the same patterns again and again and again. It's fiddling on your emotions, wearing you down, grinding you down.
Yes.
Fear and threats, and here's something very dangerous for you, and if you do, yeah, no, you can't see it, you can't see it, but it is there, right there.
It's like a global hypnosis. You know, they know that what to do psychologically to people to create that, and so they'll just create more of it. That's what I mean. What are their next plays to manipulate the people? You know, as their agenda unravels and people become more aware, what are they going to come out with next? You know, to try to maintain that agenda that they have. But the energies for May, after we get through the Scorpio lunar eclipse, full moon, we get rid of that. Then May energies are better. Okay, they're a little more harmonious. If you're going to travel, May would be a good month to travel. And then things start building up for August, and that's when things get really, really dicey again in August. So enjoy yourself if you can enjoy some of the summer, you know. I think that's the time to do it. But in the fall, it gets really dicey again.
And yeah, but that happens a lot of times in the fall. I think both world wars started in the fall, or shortly before the fall. Yeah.
Well, this is when Mars triggers again. And when we get a Mars trigger, then, you know, that I think it's Mars Saturn. Yeah. It's either Mars, Saturn, or Mars, Pluto. I can't remember. I've got so many facts in front of me. But when that happens, there's, it's Mars, Uranus. Excuse me. Now I remember. Mars, Uranus, the 1st of August. And that is strong earthquake energy. It's strong stuff out of the blue. It's very explosive, very unpredictable. And that sets the stage again for more aggression in the world. Okay. So we'll get a little bit of a lull until that time, and then it's going to be big again. But along the way is the revelations. They're going to keep coming. The unraveling is going to keep coming.
But theoretically, we could take that fiery energy of Mars and transform it into something, you know, so that we can get things done, speed it up. Yeah.
Yes.
And put that fiery energy in good projects that support the community, whatever. We could also live it like that. Correct?
Well, you know, yes. And the Venus in conjunct Neptune is about hope and optimism and creativity. You know, so there are these pockets of really good energy and possibilities that we need to be taking advantage of. You know, those people who tend to be the hypnotized ones, you know, they don't want to do anything but just watch the media. It reminds me of some of the cartoons that you see where people are just like this in front of the TV.
I support the current thing. Did you see that meme?
No, I didn't.
There was an NPC, stylized, and it said next to it, "I support the current thing."
Exactly. And the problem is these people that are hypnotized, or people that are very strongly religious. They often have, they've never been taught to think for themselves. You know, we'll tell you what's true. That's part of the problem with religion. You listen to us and we'll tell you what's true. They don't encourage an individual connection with the divine where we think for ourselves and we get our own inspiration and we can feel how things resonate with us, even though it's different than the narrative, you see. And it's those of us who think for ourselves that are really making a difference. We don't let other people think for us. And so people think that, you know, governments are going to take care of them. No. You got to look through that and think for yourself. Why are they saying things like that? Because they want to control you.
Yeah, but that is also a reflection of the mother and daddy issues that they had as a child. And then later on in life, you know, the state and religion, they replace mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that got me in a lot of trouble growing up because I thought for myself.
Yeah.
You know, so we're hoping, and that's what the Great Awakening is all about. People waking up and seeing what's true and then making their own decisions, you know, and not listening to what, or having other people think for them. Other people tell them what's going on. They're thinking for themselves and going, okay, I see what's going on, and making their own decisions. And that's what the Great Awakening is all about.
Okay. So Wendy, that was the first great hour. I thank you so much. This is goodbye for the public hour, and we will see the patrons on the other side. Until next time, bye-bye.